Hi, and welcome to my Mindset Freedom course. I love this course. I think this course just gives you all the fundamentals, all the basic things you need to know if you want to upgrade your mindset. And it's simple and easy, and it's to the point, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's get going. So, my wish for you is for you to be living in your highest potential. Your thoughts and your intentions are the conductors of creating your reality. You are more powerful than you think. What you think and believe has a profound effect on your world. And until you break away from what you see and experience, your reality, then any change in your life doesn't stick. So you have to overhaul your thinking, your subconscious beliefs, and perception about the way things happen in order to produce an alternative desired outcome. You really have to change in order to see change. So you need to begin to abandon the ideas that have been programmed and conditioned into you for many years on a conscious and subconscious level. So every thought that you think, every word that you speak, every action that you take sends out a ripple effect into the field. So you really have to let go and unlearn. We have to let go of what we think is true and leap into the unknown. Create a new environment in order to make that circumstance or condition disappear. So let's cover some fundamentals the way I see it, which is that everything in the universe is made of energy. Our thoughts, our words, our energy, and create a frequency or vibration. Your routine, known thoughts and feelings perpetuate the same state of being, which creates the same behaviors and creates the same reality. So your thoughts and feelings are always broadcasting a signal into the universe to find something to match that signal. So the sooner that you can realize that this is just actually a game of matching signals and frequencies. The feelings is what actually magnetically draws it back to you. And I'm sure you've heard this before. And if you want to change some aspect of your life, then you have to think, feel, and act in new ways. You have to be different in the way you respond to your life, and to experiences. So we need our mind and body working together. When our thoughts and feelings are aligned, then we send a more coherent signal. And that's really what we're looking for, is a more coherent signal in our body. So to shift the internal world to see the external world match it. So we have been taught that we need to change these circumstances outside of us in order to see something change. For example, if I didn't have so many responsibilities, I could lose the excess weight and then I'd be happy. Cause and effect. But what if you could change your thoughts, your feelings, and your way of being ahead of time, meaning working in the non-physical on your internal state, and then you would see the effects of those internal changes in your external world. So let's talk about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Our conscious mind is what sets goals and judge results, thinks abstractly, is time bound, so past and future, can do 1 to 3 events at a time, and averages about 40 bits of information per second. The subconscious mind, which is very habitual, monitors the operation of the body, the heart rate, digestion, as some examples. It thinks literally, it's timeless, so it's present moment only. An expanded processing capacity of the subconscious, this long-term memory. So it is what manages our past experiences, attitudes, values, and beliefs, and thousands of events at a time. So it averages 40 million bits of information per second. So you create your own reality. Your reality is created by your beliefs. These beliefs, usually subconscious, are often the result of lifelong programming and conditioning. Neuroscience has shown that 95% of our day is run by the subconscious mind. It's the subconscious mind that holds our attitudes, our values, and our beliefs. It is from our beliefs that we form perceptions about the world and ourselves, and from these perceptions, we develop behaviors. And many of us harbor unknowingly self-limiting subconscious beliefs in the areas of self-esteem, health, our bodies, financial abundance, relationships, and career. So our thoughts create our biology. The hardest part about change is not making the same choice you did the day before. And anyone who's done some sort of diet knows exactly what this feels like. 90% of our thoughts are the same as the day before. And as a result, our lives pretty much stay the same because our thoughts lead to the same choices, and our same choices lead to the same behaviors, and our same behaviors lead to the same experiences. And those experiences lead to emotions. And emotions influence how we think. And this creates our personality, which in turn affects our physical health and emotional health. Your beliefs are the foundation of your personality. They define you as worthy or worthless, powerful or powerless, competent or incompetent, trusting or suspicious, self-reliant or dependent, flexible or judgmental, love or hated. Beliefs affect your moods, your relationships, your self-esteem, your physical work, and your physical health. The subconscious beliefs create the filters through which we respond to life's challenges. And another way to think about this as well that I really like is that it's our assumptions about life. So our assumptions are these filters, and it decides basically of how we respond to things. So while we may be unaware of their influence on us, our subconscious beliefs direct our actions and behaviors. So your assumptions as well, right? Same thing, are directing your actions and behaviors. So what are some common limiting beliefs? No matter what I do or how hard I try, it's never good enough. I usually make bad decisions. I blame others for my problems. I shouldn't try anything new because I will probably mess it up. It's not safe to ask others for help. I can't trust them. My opinion doesn't really matter. What I do isn't really important. And in the one about it's not safe to ask others for help, I don't even think we consciously are thinking it's not safe to ask others for help, but we do everything ourselves, and we can't ask others because we've had the experience in the past where people let us down. And that does create a feeling in your nervous system of not feeling safe. So it can be hard to see and admit that self-limiting beliefs are a reflection of your reality. It's hard to see this at times, right? The things that we're doing, the things that we're saying, and that we're thinking on a daily basis, that's creating our reality. But the good news is that you can change this. You can empower yourself to change, and you can deprogram or unwire your old thinking and feeling patterns, and then rewire your mind and body to new patterns of thinking and feeling based on who you want to be instead. So here are some examples of survival emotions: insecurity, hatred, judgment, worry, guilt, depression, shame, anxiety, regret, suffering, frustration. So those are emotions of survival. And then examples of some limiting states of mind: competition, overwhelm, blaming, confusion, distraction, controlling, rushing, needy, dishonest. And these are very common of how we are being in our daily life. We're being from a place of survival. We're being from a place of thinking with limitation. So living in circumstances. We have been taught to constantly manage our circumstances, to control. There is so much fear thrown at us that we try to control every aspect of our life in order to adapt to this fear. And we are in a constant state of being vigilant. No wonder so many people are sick and have so many issues, including adrenal issues of fatigue, overwhelm. Because we are constantly in this constant fight or flight, and we're not even aware of it because it's become so normalized to be really busy. And disease is created from some sort of imbalance in our life, and this dis-ease is what we feel in our lives. So disease manifests within our response to our environment. And our responses and our reactions are energy that gets stuck in our organs and our tissues, and it creates this imbalance. So every concern ends up being of our own creation. And if we could see that circumstances are really what they are, but it's how we interpret and interact with them is what we then create. So back to frequency, everything is made of energy. And we live in a vast, invisible field of energy which contains all possible realities and which responds to our thoughts and feelings. Our body is material that formed through light. And in the quantum world, this is talked about as particle and wave. And so these bodies we have vibrate in frequency and in pattern. And we are always perpetuating in some sort of pattern or sound. So every potential in the universe is a wave of probability that has an electromagnetic field and is energetic in nature. Therefore, our thoughts and feelings are no exception. And often, when you're trying to figure out a situation or a circumstance, if you just look at the pattern that's happening and get out of the details, you can actually then try to come at it from a different level and try to see if there's another way or another perception, another perspective to have on that circumstance. And it's to get into the pattern, like what is the pattern that is showing up? So our thoughts vibrate and have sound. Our words vibrate and have sound. Our organs actually have a particular vibration and sound. So everything in the universe is vibrating or oscillating in sound and frequency. And so when you change the sound of you via your words and thoughts, you will change the patterns. You will change the behaviors. You will create new sounds and new patterns. You will create a new life by changing the sound of you. So how we speak to ourselves is so important, because we take on the shape of our actual words. We code ourselves with fear, with self-doubt and judgment. And then we wonder why life doesn't work the way we want it to. So we are coding ourselves all the time with our words and our thoughts. And as we are made of water, about 70%, let's say, and we know scientifically that water can be coded, as this has been shown, then this actually means we can recode our own internal waters. So your thoughts and words and daily activities are always setting into motion new potentials that will manifest for you. Always. Like basically how you're being is always going to be putting into motion what's coming next in your life. So let's get into how do we change all this? What are some steps? So the first step is awareness, and noticing is curative. So awareness, we must have awareness first in order to change any of this. We need to slow down and pay attention to what you are doing and saying. Pay attention to all the words you use to describe yourself, to describe experiences and situations around you. Observe your unconscious behaviors and habits. What am I thinking? What am I doing? What are your belief systems that are creating pain and patterns in your life? Do you have a baseline of frustration? What's the actual truth in this present moment? And how do you know the difference between the truth and a story that you might be telling yourself? Well, the truth should be simple and it should feel good in your body, meaning there's relaxation in your body. That is usually what truth is. So these are really important questions to have to build your self-awareness and to help you get to more of the deeper levels of what your beliefs are. And of course, it is always helpful if you're struggling with that to work with someone. This is what I do as well with my clients, is to listen to them and to hear the patterns that they are sharing with me, and then to pull a thread as to what some of those beliefs are and then to reprogram them. So daily practice is to take more conscious breaths and become the observer. That is for sure the daily practice that we should all have, is to be more conscious, be more in the moment, and become that observer of what's happening around us and what's happening within us. And your consciousness will expand with your breath and the moments of pause and observation. So here's some homework that I can offer to help you understand and to become aware of what your dominant thoughts are. And you want to journal, and you're looking and asking and for the belief systems that are underneath all of these thoughts. So what is the consistent thought pattern you wake up to? You might not realize this, but you might be waking up every morning with the same thought or the same fear or the same feeling of anxiety about a theme in your life. So we often have a dominant thought in the morning. So write this down. And where did this dominant thought come from? Is there a belief system that is underneath it? And are there any other consistent daily thoughts? Write these down as well. And then take 3 or 4 of these thoughts and stay conscious of them the whole day or the whole week. So you can give yourself a little bit of an experiment. You're going to practice, what are these thoughts that I'm having? You're journaling them down. And then, I would say for a week or a few days, just be aware of every time they come up, what brings them up. So when do you have these thoughts? When, why, who, or what triggers them? How are you feeling when it happens? So this is part of the exploration to understand what the beliefs are underneath it. What are the assumptions underneath these thoughts that pass you by, very quickly sometimes, and we're not paying attention to them. So really don't let these thoughts pass you by without noticing. So notice the words you choose to describe yourself and the experiences you are having. And I will add, of course, noticing how you're texting back and forth to people, the words that you use to describe yourself, noticing how you are choosing to interact with, that kind of banter that goes back and forth between groups of people, groups of women, groups of men, making fun of the self, making fun of our bodies, making fun of judging ourselves as we get older, like all these things that we do in society. And stop and notice what you're doing and what you are agreeing to every time you do that, because I know it's funny and it can bring some levity, which is also beautiful, but you're also agreeing to a belief when you do that. So I would just say become very conscious of that and choose where you want to participate. So an important question to ask on your most difficult behavior patterns is, what benefit do I gain? This is super important when you want to understand what you're doing, especially when you're self-sabotaging yourself. What benefit do I gain from staying stuck in this pattern? Super important when you're in self-sabotage. And looking for the belief system or the program underneath all the patterns, or any pattern that you're looking at. So, your main job this coming week is to become so intimately aware of your thoughts and your words, because ultimately these are false desires you have. And the more you are really awake and aware, these falsehoods can no longer take hold of your energy. So, how do you speak? What do you speak? Do you complain? Do you blame? Do you make excuses? Do you feel sorry for yourself? What emotions do you live by? We are not our thoughts, but the awareness of our thoughts. Remember that. Become the observer. Keep practicing becoming the observer. I am not my mind. I am the programmer of my mind. Right? I am directing my own light ship here. And how do I want to reprogram in this moment? If my reality is always a reflection of my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions and my words, then in this moment, what am I seeing and how do I actually want to be instead? You get to choose. You're always choosing. So always question your thoughts. What am I thinking about? Is that what I'm experiencing? Or is the experience I'm having just a reflection of my thoughts and patterns? So I think we often don't actually just have the experience that's in front of us because we are so in our mind and in our thoughts and we're not present. So we're actually not having the actual experience that's in front of us. And where is my frequency in this pattern or in this experience? Am I picking up on energies from someone else's frequency or is this my own? Am I in fight or flight? Right? So a lot of questions to ask as we're going through our day and if we're getting triggered and if we start to notice that we're not present and we're not fully experiencing the experience, the moment that's happening, or are we in our thoughts about the moment? So show up every day with a flashlight on your beliefs, your thoughts, and your words. However, a big but here, I want you to do this with love, compassion, and free of judgment. Be as loving as possible. So awareness changes perspective. And as we become more aware, we see the old constructs and are open to other possibilities. We must develop an unwavering commitment to your self-awareness. And what is the bridge that guides you between where you are now to where you want to be? Well, it's walking through any human experience with observation, present moment awareness, while letting go of resistance, letting things be as they are, not resisting what's in front of you. You get to choose. You get to choose everything. You are not helpless. You get to choose how you feel and what you attract. And you get to choose how you perceive everything. Your desires can come true, but first you need to see all the stuff that is not working. Witness all the stories you say to yourself about who you are and what is around you, and create a new story of you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, and I wish you the best. And there's the next part of my mindset course, which is class number 2. So hope to see you there.